people are still joining at the same time. So we are moving on in chapter 12. Today we'll be reading the section entitled The Way to Remember God. David, thank you for raising your hand. I'm going to take you up on your kind offer to read. So welcome to Miracles on High Plains. My name is Jonica, and our reader for today is David S. We're going to, before we get into chapter 12.2, let's recall where we left off in the previous section.
Defenses that do not work at all are automatically discarded. If you raise what fear conceals to clear-cut, unequivocal predominance, fear becomes meaningless. You have denied its power to conceal love, which was its only purpose. The veil that you have drawn across the face of love has disappeared.
Okay, so this would be part of the ego's upside down strategy for responding to the world. The Course says that the Creator is a creator of love and brought forth all of creation in an atmosphere of love and passed on those properties of loving nature to us. And so there's a background of love in the Creator's eyes. The ego stands in opposition to that idea and so wants to conceal the love. And so fear is intended to conceal or obscure this creation of love. And if you raise fear, what fear conceals the love, to clear-cut, unequivocal predominance, fear becomes meaningless. And we'll elaborate for just a moment on that, it doesn't mean that a fearful thought never rises in your mind. It's just that it means when it does, you tell yourself, that has no meaning, that has no power over me, and I'm not going to respond to the situation with the emotion of fear because I don't serve that master. I serve the power of love. And know that the power of love and the concealment of the power of love is in large part what we will read about in this new section in this session called The Way to Remember God.
Miracles are merely the translation of denial into truth. If to love oneself is to heal oneself, those who are sick do not love themselves. Therefore, they are asking for the love that would heal them, but which they are denying to themselves. If they knew the truth about themselves, they could not be sick. The task of the miracle worker thus becomes to deny the denial of truth. The sick must heal themselves, for the truth is in them. Yet, having obscured it, the light in another mind must shine into theirs because that light is theirs.
Mm-hmm. So remember what we had read from that previous section, the denial of love is the ego's plan. This is equivalent to saying the denial of the truth of a loving creation. So a miracle is merely a translation or a shift in perception away from the denial of love into the affirmation and the assertion of truth. And so that would be like a philosophic abstraction. But look how it applies. It applies to the way you think about yourself and all of your relationships with everyone, because the denial of love results in one feeling unloving about yourself. And I will go on record as saying, who in the world has not ever felt unloved? This is an all-pervasive mythology It's an all-pervasive teaching system that was acquired through an upside-down chaotic world. And so the answer to the solution of all that, which we call sickness, is to recognize that there was a lie there and that it won't change until our minds come to a firm position, which results in denying the denial of love, denying the denial of truth. For in other words, we then recognize that it was always a lie. To deny the power of love was always a lie. And now I know it and I stand against it. I stand against that lie. 4, here is the fundamental truth that applies to everyone and that people get stuck on. The sick must heal themselves. Nobody's going to do this for you against your will. You have to be willing to accept this new perception, the truth about yourself. The truth is in you, but it's been obscured. And so there's what is a miracle? A miracle is about the recognition of this truth that it is within you. The power of love is within you. The miracle is when you recognize it in other people and they recognize it in you. It's the light in one's mind shining into another mind. Okay. So the rest of this session will elaborate on that principle, but it's essential that we grasp this intentionality right from the beginning. Is there's been this denial in the power of love. We have to recognize the lie and refuse to continue to return to the belief that there is no love. We have to deny that truth. We have to deny that lie, and it's in our hands to do so. The sick must heal themselves. Nobody's going to yank you out of your determination to believe in lack of love. You have to be willing to choose differently using your own free will. We'll go on.
The light in them shines as brightly regardless of the density of the fog that obscures it. If you give no power to the fog to obscure the light, it has none. For it has power only if the Son of God gives power to it. He must himself withdraw that power, remembering that all power is of God. You can remember this for all the sonship. Do not allow your brother not to remember, for his forgetfulness is yours. But your remembering is his, for God cannot be remembered alone. This is what you have forgotten. To perceive the healing of your brother as the healing of yourself is thus the way to remember God. For you forgot your brothers with him, and God's answer to your forgetting is but the way to remember.
Mm-hmm. So my new favorite term here is the fog. I really like that term rather than the darkness. I like the metaphor of being in a fog. It's not evil or sinful, but it is very confused. It lacks clarity. It lacks understanding. It's a fog. And so the issue here is giving power to the fog. I can summarize this entire program of miracles as a confusion in how we use the power of our mind. a power of our choosing. And so there's so many people joining here. I'm going to let you in, Jared. Hope this works. Um, how we use the power of our mind. The fundamental issue is that only you can decide what you choose to believe in. You make daily choices regarding your life. That is the power of free will. It's given to you. But we know that we often give that power, we make bad decisions, and we give that power away to in arenas that do not benefit us, that even in fact that are self-destructive. We're going to refer to that as giving our power to the fog, which obscures the truth. And so every day of your life, every hour, you have choices that you make on how you will use the power in your mind. Will you stare into the fog and attempt to try to find something worthwhile in the fog? Or will you reorient your mind towards the light and look for the truth there? Uh, what we learn in this program is that most of us have developed a habit of staring into the fog and looking there first. It's what fear does. Fear causes us to think that it deserves our attention. And so the injunction here is you must yourself withdraw that power that was given to the fog. You must take your power back from staring in the fog and use that power. It's not lost, and use that power to change directions and orient towards the light. That's a pretty easy to understand concept, but the next idea blows it off the charts. And the ego mind is not apt to want to believe this next idea. This ability that we just talked about, removing your power from the fog and reorienting to the light, when you do that not only for yourself, but that has an influence on the people around you because you're not alone in experiencing the effects of your perception. You're not alone. This affects your relationships. And so it affects others. It affects what we will call your brothers. Do not allow your brothers not to remember the truth in them, for when they forget, it has an impact on you. This is another way of saying we're not in this alone and by ourselves. We're in this all together. And so your ability to remember not to stare into the fog for guidance, but to stare into the light also has a ripple effect on others, and they have a ripple effect on you. This is what you have forgotten. You've forgotten that you can't do this by yourself. You must do it. This entire program is applied in relationships to others. And this results not only in the healing of your own internal conflicts, but also results in the healing of your relationships with others. Kathy, you have your hand up.
Yeah, that was the most that I kept reading that over and over again. For his forgetfulness is yours. So when I'm in the world, I try to talk to others about A Course in Miracles and the principles of A Course in Miracles to others as I know it. And it's not an easy thing. I think some people are receptive and some aren't, but when they are receptive, it's wonderful and it feels so uplifting and so real. And I think that's what that is. That's the way I remember God, is by speaking A Course in Miracles to others. It took me a long time to get to a point where I could do that. But anyway, that's where I am. And I think that's how I don't know if that's what this is saying, but that's how I remember God when I'm talking to others. So I don't fall into that forgetfulness with them. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to think about it like you were talking to your 8-year-old niece or nephew, someone that's an innocent, sweet person that's learning and growing, and you're there only for their good, only to be helpful, only to encourage them along, not to take control of them, but to encourage their own innate goodness and creativity. If you take that attitude towards all your relationships, you start out on the right foot. And I find that that's one of the most important things for me is to start out metaphorically on the right foot, start out orienting towards a purposeful encounter with another that implies I care about you, you matter to me. Let's go on. So this is a visual that I did. You don't find these images in the Course in Miracles, but the artists of today have come up with all kinds of ways of expressing the idea that there's light in our minds and that it shines into the minds of others. It's a shared light. David?
Perceive in sickness but another call for love, and offer your brother what he believes he cannot offer himself. Whatever the sickness, there is but one remedy. You will be made whole as you make whole. For to perceive in sickness the appeal for health is to recognize in hatred the call for love. And to give a brother what he really wants is to offer it unto yourself. For your Father wills you to know your brother as yourself. Answer his call for love, and yours is answered. Healing is the love of Christ for his Father and for himself.
Mm-hmm. So we said all of this is in a context of life itself, a life in relations to other people, how we show up, how we encounter others. And so that can be expressed in a number of ways. Here's one way I think is very succinct. You will be made whole as you make whole. It's a little abstract. How do you make whole? Well, you do it in relationships. You do it in the manner that we just referred to. In your manner, you indicate to the other person that you matter, that this encounter with you, I respect who you are. I honor the light within you. And in doing that, you make the relationship whole. And that has an effect on you. You will be made whole as a result of making your relationships whole. This is said in other ways. The Father wills you to know your brothers as yourself. It's also was said thousands of years ago as love your neighbor as yourself. And I was at a birthday party the other day where I met a gentleman who operates in the Interfaith Network here in Palm Beach County. And we were talking about every one of the world's major philosophies and religions has a variation on the statement, do unto others as you would have them do unto yourself. And if you ever get a chance, they have charts that do this. And it's like 25 different renditions from all over the world. It's really beautiful to see how there's this alignment of and loving your neighbor, doing unto your neighbor as you would have them do unto yourself. So it's in that environment. There's, even if words are not exchanged, there's still something that goes on. in all encounters. For instance, those of you that are here on this Zoom session are actually encountering each other in your own way as they speak and share. You regard them either in respectfully, in lovingly, we would call it, or perhaps not. Regard them and bring your own fog into the relationship. It's something that occurs all the time, oftentimes unconscious to us. David.
Remember what was said about the frightening perceptions of little children, which terrify them because they do not understand them. If they ask for enlightenment and accept it, their fears vanish. But if they hide their nightmares, they will keep them. It is easy to help an uncertain child, for he recognizes that he does not understand what his perceptions mean. Yet you believe that you do understand yours. Little child, you are hiding your head under the cover of the heavy blankets you have laid upon yourself. You are hiding your nightmares in the darkness of your own false certainty and refusing to open your eyes and look at them.
So this came up in our previous session that the ego projects a false sense of self that appears to be certain of oneself, that would try to convince others that I got it right, I got it under control. It's what we call the darkness of your own false certainty, feeling as though I've already got the answers, I don't need any help here. Well, that's what we refer to as a closed mind attitude. I have the answers, I don't need help here. What this program and many traditions, spiritual traditions, have acknowledged is the idea of emptying yourself of all your preconceived answers, of having already figured it out, and being teachable like a little child that is looking to learn. It's about being teachable. It's easy to help an uncertain child who recognizes he doesn't understand. So this attitude, for those of you that may be earlier on in your miracle journey, I can tell you that after decades in the Course of Miracle, this attitude still serves me well. I still begin when I restart the workbook lessons, I take it like I'm at the beginning. I'm a beginner. Whatever I may have thought in the past, I let it go and I open myself to growing and learning anew, because we're here to learn, not to be convinced that we've already got it figured out. Susie?
Yeah, the sentence that you have in orange is the theme through the whole course, right? I can't keep anything hidden from the Holy Spirit, for whatever I keep hidden will never be healed. And it's just become so important for me to say, to bring everything. And I know when I'm hiding things, I know it's my false certainty. But, I'm aware of like the egos. I heard somebody use this expression the other day, loved it. I'm aware of the ego's playbook now. You know what I mean? Like, I know when I'm doing it. I mean, not always. I've had to really dig deep to say, what am I hiding? What is still hidden? And I'm not even ashamed of anything anymore, because that's what it says, I mean, it's not a sin. Like, so I've been that's where my work's been, like just bringing everything to the Holy Spirit, because I can't heal if I don't. That's it. It's just really that simple.
It is simple. It seems as we go through it in the beginning, oh, it's so complex. There's all ideas. And then when we get towards the end, oh, it's so simple. It was always there. I was making it unnecessarily complex. That is one of the feedbacks or the indicators to yourself is you start seeing the simplicity. Oh, it's just a matter of choosing differently. It's not difficult at all.
Let us not save nightmares, for they are not fitting offerings for Christ, and so they are not fit gifts for you. Take off the covers and look at what you are afraid of. Only the anticipation will frighten you, for the reality of nothingness cannot be frightening. Let us not delay this, for your dream of hatred will not leave you without help, and help is here. Learn to be quiet in the midst of turmoil, for quietness is the end of strife, and this is the journey to peace. Look straight at every image that rises to delay you, for the goal is inevitable, because it is eternal. The goal of love is but your right, and it belongs to you despite your dreams.
Mm-hmm. So the premise here is for a lot of reasons, our minds and our attention has gone towards this fog, this denial, this problematic, confused state, trying to figure out what's going on there. So let's assume that becomes habitual and we go there just by default. It doesn't require much, maybe a news article or something, and the mind immediately goes there, or even less stimulus. Well, so the course says this is a program in mind training. The course says that we can shift from that orientation to a new orientation, but it requires that we learn something new. And that's what we said a moment ago. A child that admits he doesn't already know is very teachable. He can learn anew. And so we must learn to be quiet in the midst of turmoil. It's a state, an inner state that you've already experienced before, but perhaps not enough of in your day. Already experienced before. It's an inner state of quietness where even though the outside world continues to go along at its pace and exist in its fog, your mind has chosen to go on a journey of peace. And how do we do that? So that sounds very nice, but has to be instructions in how we learn to be quiet. And first, there's two major steps. The first one is to break the old habit of going back to the fog and trying to find answers there and getting all caught up in a cycle of replaying what went wrong and who the guilty parties are and how afraid you're, all that. So you have to break that. And the only way you can do that is to recognize that fear has no power over you. So look straight at every dark image that rises to delay your path to peace. For the goal is inevitable as it is eternal. So you look at it and deny the denial of truth, deny its denial of the power of love, and then having nullified or made meaningless those ideas about fear, then we turn towards the light and the truth. And this program teaches, that was a summary of this program teaches how we do that. I want to make a off the record comment here. This completely off the record, so you'll forgive me if I'm speculating or if I'm adding my own ideas. And that is the difference between the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And one, the sympathetic nervous system is well known to you because it releases all the neurotransmitters associated with fight and flight and is easily triggered and mobilizes your adrenaline to respond to situations like that. It makes you very high pitched, and it's necessary for survival because if the tiger roars in the jungle and you don't respond, that could be a bad outcome. But we don't, in a modern world, we're not as vulnerable to such things. And what we need is a more balanced with the parasympathetic nervous system. And that is the part of your nervous system that helps you to rest and relax. And our modern day scientists are learning that about these. They've known for quite some time about these systems. It's not new. During the era in the 80s with biofeedback, people learned that they can actually regulate their breathing, regulate their heart rate, and result in a more calm and quiet state. So what I'm suggesting is when the Course says learn to be quiet in the midst of turmoil, that's not just some advice that is going to be impossible to achieve, that there are actual mechanisms. And I should go on to say, I practice this on my own. I don't hook up to monitors or anything, but I practice being aware of my breath, being aware of my heart rate, being and intentionally becoming quiet when things seem to start getting too chaotic. It's a part of the journey to peace, of learning to be quiet, even when there's stimulus in your environment, such as the daily news, that might lead your mind towards chaos and the fog. This is our right to be peaceful.
You still want what God wills, and no nightmare can defeat a child of God in his purpose. For your purpose was given you by God, and you must accomplish it because it is his will. Awake and remember your purpose, for it is your will to do so. What has been accomplished for you must be yours. Do not let your hatred stand in the way of love, for nothing can withstand the love of Christ for his Father or his Father's love for him. A little while and you will see me, for I am not hidden because you are hiding. I will awaken you as surely as I awakened myself, for I awoke for you. In my resurrection is your release. Our mission is to escape from crucifixion, not from redemption. Trust in my help, for I did not walk alone, and I will walk with you as our Father walked with me. Do you not know that I walked with him in peace? And does not that mean that peace goes with us on the journey?
So I want to point out this concept of walking alone. There can be a tendency in pursuing inner peace to feel like this is all about me, to be very self-oriented in all of that. And we've said that this is a program that involves relationships towards others. Well, the truth is that we do not walk alone, and progress in this program requires that we learn to trust spiritual guidance, trust in my help, for we do not walk alone. And again, this comes back to the theme that we read earlier. A child is easy to teach because they admit that they are here to learn. And if we take that attitude towards spirit, that I think it would be an obvious truth here that you don't know the path to peace, that you don't know how the laws of peace operate, and that we have to learn, you have to be guided. And so, where do we go to learn the laws of peace and to follow the path of peace? We must go to one who knows what the path of peace looks like. And we must walk on that journey together.
There is no fear in perfect love. We will but be making perfect to you what is already perfect in you. You do not fear the unknown, but the known. You will not fail in your mission, because I did not fail in mine. Give me but a little trust in the name of the complete trust I have in you, and we will easily accomplish the goal of perfection together. For perfection is and cannot be denied. To deny the denial of perfection is not so difficult as to deny truth. And what we can accomplish together will be believed when you see it as accomplished.
Mm-hmm. So a little bit of a unexpected, this statement that you do not fear the unknown, but you do fear the known. I want to elaborate on that and we'll look at it two different ways. We talked about the lifelong habit of staring into the fog and trying to figure out where the problem lies and who the guilty parties are and what is it, how do I respond to these fears? And so it's not that we don't have any practice staring into the fear, the unknown. We've got lots of practice there. The truth is, the reality is that the truth does not emerge from the darkness. The answers are not found in the chaos and the confusion. The answers are not found in an environment of fear. And so the idea of looking for it there is really logically foolish. The truth is that we've spent so little time staring into the light for guidance, for the path of peace. We've spent so little time trusting in the power of perfection, the power of love, the power of truth. And so it becomes, hear me well here, it becomes an attitude of the mind, an orientation with the mind of where are you going to look for answers. And I guarantee you in the next 24 hours, you're going to have this experience. Something is going to come up in your life that is going to have your attention, and you're going to feel, I don't know, gee, what, because we're talking about the unknown here. I don't know, what do I do here? And in that moment, you are at a fork in your thought process. You can either stare into what could go wrong and all the problems, your anxieties, your sense of inadequacy. Maybe I can't respond. I'm not up to this here. I don't know what to do, so I feel inadequate. You can spend a lot of time investing, giving your power to that fog, or you can realize there's no answers there. I know this now. I'm going to reorient towards the principles that I'm being taught here, the path to peace, that I'm going to reorient towards these principles, that there is a power to truth, a power to a perfect creation, a power to love. So the sooner we recognize that this is the problem, we've been staring in the wrong direction for guidance. We've been looking towards the fog instead of towards the light. And know that the power of your mind to choose freely what you do with your own decisions means that you can choose again and orient towards choosing the light. And what's it say? And we will easily accomplish the goal of perfection together. Why? For those of you that are newer here, the abstract thought here is that the creator had a perfect plan in mind from the beginning. He saw the beginning from the ending. It was a plan of love. It was a perfect plan. And so the ingredients for that are already within you. The light within you is already there, the power of perfection. But it, as we read a few paragraphs ago, it's been covered over with these heavy blankets of fear and self-deceptions and confusion. And so it's not manifest in your life. And this program is about realizing that those blankets have no power, that you can cast them off and let the light within you shine once again. Noel?
Two things. One, to give up control or my illusion of control, that I know answers and that I can solve whatever it is on my own. And two, in the second paragraph, second sentence, give me but a little trust, reminds me of another passage where he says, a little willingness is all that's needed. So for me, I have to just keep staying humble. And like Susie was saying, keep asking, keep saying, I don't know what anything is for, and keep being open.
So true, Noel. Thank you. Susie?
You know, this sentence is really pithy, John. It's really amazing because I don't know. I know that I am perfect love, but I don't know that, right? Or my habit isn't to know that. So I fear what I know. You know, I like whatever my fears might be. Let's just use my thing that I always use with golf, or just something silly, or my fear of a bridge or a tunnel, or to have a relationship with someone. It could be anything. I fear, you know, what I know, which isn't even true. I don't fear the unknown, like what it would be to have perfect love. I don't even know, like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, this sentence is giving me like hope and like a sense of like, wow, like I could look at this differently. Like, I really don't fear because I don't know it yet.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know it yet. But what I do know of part of my mind that's been healed, I didn't fear that. You know what I mean? Like that, I didn't fear that. That just happened and it was wonderful. And what I feared before is just gone. Like it talks about, just poof, like, oh, what was that? I don't know if I'm making any sense with that. This sentence is really, and again, I've never noticed this sentence ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for those of you that like a little mental puzzle, sometimes I take them in the shower with myself and just repeat it over and over and see what comes out there. You do not fear the unknown, but the known. You do fear the known. You might want to ponder that until you see all sides of it. There's always two sides, two views or two interpretations, and you want to be clear in your own mind how that plays out. Noel?
Would you say that the known is our own perception and projection? It's what we think we know.
Yeah, that's a fair question, and it's one of the reasons why this can get is a little pithy. Is the known? So I'm going to interpret here, Noel. The known is what's the truth that's always been true forever and ever and ever. The truth of God's creation is that we have a power to live in a universe of love and pursue the goal of perfection. So what? Sorry, gotta read it again. You do not fear the unknown, which is the past. No, the unknown is often the future that hasn't happened. But what we do fear, so there's a lot of levels of interpretation. That's why I encourage you to take it with you and come up with your own interpretation. Let's leave it at that for now. Matter of fact, I'll make this broad statement about the course. All these statements, as Susie said, are very pithy because they have multiple layers of meaning. And you might grasp one level of meaning right away, and that's the meaning for you at this time. However, as David and Susie and others have testified, a year later, that same sentence has a whole new meaning to you. And you say, I didn't see that before, but it means so much more to me now. And that process I've observed continues on and on. I'm speculating that there's 7 levels of meaning that exist here. And so it's up to each of us to encounter the meaning at the level to which we are able at this moment, but know that that's not the final meaning. This is another way of saying these are all interpretations. They're not hardcore, this is the truth and there's no other way to understand it except for this. That is not the case in anything in this program. It's a goal of perfection. And as we pursue that, this path, this journey of peace, meanings become richer and richer and more congruent with the creation of perfection. And it's not to say that we're all able to grasp that congruence with the plan of perfection today, but we are on a path of learning and growth that will enable us to understand more and more with each passing year.
You who have tried to banish love have not succeeded, but you who choose to banish fear must succeed. The Lord is with you, but you know it not. Yet your Redeemer liveth and abideth in you in the peace out of which he was created. Would you not exchange this awareness for the awareness of fear? When we have overcome fear, not by hiding it, not by minimizing it, and not by denying its full import in any way, this is what you will really see. You cannot lay aside the obstacles to real vision without looking upon them. For to lay aside means to judge against. If you will look, the Holy Spirit will judge, and he will judge truly. Yet he cannot shine away what you keep hidden, for you have not offered it to him, and he cannot take it from you.
Mm-hmm. So many of our fears lie hidden in the subconscious mind. These can be referred to as your nightmares, your traumas that lie in the subconscious mind. And conscious mind is very reluctant, even afraid to look at them. Uh, and thus, they continue to exist in the corners of our subconscious and haunt us like a nightmare. It continues to have an influence in our life. So, what the Course says is to overcome fear, not by hiding and not by minimizing it, but to look at it. If you will look at those fears, you will realize that they are not what you thought they were. They don't have power. And the shadows on the wall in Plato's cave, I'm just going to assume everybody has some sense of that story. You realize they're but shadows on the wall. They're not monsters. They're merely shadows, and I need not be afraid of those shadows. So if you're willing to look at them, here's the truth that is profound. Every fear that you will ever have, every fear that ever will appear in humanity, the Holy Spirit has already evaluated them. And they're all nonsense. They're all meaningless. So if you look at it, the Holy Spirit will judge. She's already judged and will judge truly, and will shine those fears away if you give them to the Holy Spirit. But that cannot happen if you're unwilling, if you're determined to keep them locked away, and if you're determined not to offer them to the Holy Spirit. She cannot take them from you.
We are therefore embarking on an organized, well-structured, and carefully planned program aimed at learning how to offer to the Holy Spirit everything you do not want. He knows what to do with it. You do not understand how to use what he knows. Whatever is given him that is not of God is gone. Yet you must look at it yourself in perfect willingness, for otherwise his knowledge remains useless to you. Surely he will not fail to help you, since help is his only purpose. Do you not have greater reason for fearing the world as you perceive it than for looking at the cause of fear and letting it go forever?
Mm-hmm. So I really recommend you spend a few minutes either later today or tomorrow coming back to this paragraph, because it says a lot. This program is not a one-shot deal. It is, however, organized, well-structurally, and carefully planned. It's a program aimed at absolving yourself of your own nightmares, of your own fog, and helping you to become aware of the power that's in your mind to choose what direction you orient yourself. And the guidance system for doing this is within you. The Holy Spirit knows what to do with your fears. And just as we said with a little child that does not know, you do not understand how to use what the Holy Spirit knows. Our task, this goes back to Noel's comment about a little willingness. Our task is merely when those fears arise up in our mind to immediately realize, well, there's a fear in my mind. And the sooner the better, within seconds would be best, to turn to the Holy Spirit and say, there's a fear in my mind, Holy Spirit, that I don't want anymore, and I don't know how to free myself of it. but I'm giving it over to you because I understand you know how to heal. And that's the little willingness on our part, is to not cling on and empower once again those nightmares, but to surrender them into the hands of the Holy Spirit. He knows what to do with it and will not fail to help you. That's the purpose of the Holy Spirit, is to help you. And so that willingness to do so, to empty your subconscious mind of a lifetime of doubts and insecurities and nightmares and guilt and judgments, those things that were stored out of your conscious memory in your own mind are still there. And they will serve to weigh you down like a ball and chain, to imprison your mind until such time as you freely elect to let them go and to give them to the healer, which is offer it to the Holy Spirit, everything that does not serve you well. And that practice, practiced on a regular basis for season after season after season, will empty you of all your inner darkness, your inner nightmares, and then your subconscious mind will be clear and it'll be free. When miracle impulses occur, when feelings of sharing and helping and forgiving arise in you, there will be nothing that will interfere or obscure those miracle impulses. And that would be a miracle of healing. We're out of time, but for those of you that like a summary, I did have a few ideas here that summarize this. So I posted this on the website, well, under the summaries. For those of you that find it useful, you can look them up on the website. But that's all the time that we have for now. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank our recent members, Jared and Nick and Elizabeth and Adriana. I hope I'm not missing anybody. And welcome back, Kathy. So nice to see you. And look forward, come back again tomorrow at 7 p.m. and we'll continue on next step on this path to peace. Thank you, David, for being our reader. Thank you all for your attendance.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Namaste,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
David. See you
Thank
guys
you,
tomorrow.
everybody.
Good night.
See you guys.
Bye.
Blessings.
Peace and love.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings.